Welcome everyone to your channel, AI Fun Fact for All. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Pedro Magan. I have a PhD in computer science, and in this channel we talk about AI and machine learning and how we can use it in our everyday life to maximize our efficiency. In this video, which is going to be a short one, I'm going to talk about some of the Reddit posts that I recently saw inside and the talks that there are going on about the OpenAI model. We talk about some of the futures of Hallucination, the O1 model, and the future of the AGI, and also we'll quickly go over how this Orion model is gonna be deployed within the Azure with the collaboration of Microsoft, same as how it did with the GPT-4, and are we going to see GPT-5 with a new name of Orion or not? So it's going to be an interesting video. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Before we start, I want to very quickly talk about the fact that the OpenAI people are contributing a lot of content inside Reddit, and that's kind of an important topic to consider. And we already also have heard their partnership they're going to do with Reddit and get the content from the Reddit to basically learn their new model. And for that reason, I want to go over some of the recent Reddit posts that these guys are doing and the responses that we get from the top people from OpenAI. The first one is some user asks, is AGI achievable with known hardware, or will it take something entirely different? There are different thoughts on this. Some people think that the hardware is going to be biological, some other things that we might need quantum computing, but this is Sam Altman's response. He said that we believe it is achievable with the current hardware. So it's kind of hindsighting the fact that the OpenAI, Sam Altman, actually believe that this whole AGI is something that achievable in a few thousand days, that he said once, and also they are going towards this, and we have like these NVIDIA chips usable and definitely achievable with this. So there would be more progress in terms of data working, in terms of the algorithm and so on, rather than, for example, the hardware itself or the amount of parallel computation. So don't get confused in here. It doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot get benefit from them. The second one that I want to talk about is O1 versus O1 preview. So the O1 actually rolled out very recently, like around 1st of November, and it is noticeably better. So the question is asking, is the full O1 really a noticeable improvement from the O1 preview? So as I mentioned, the O1 rolled out for the registered paid user, and it is actually noticeably very good. It has very good responses compared to O1 preview. If you look at my previous video, I put the link at the end. There's a comparison, and O1 preview achieved a little bit better performance compared to GPT-4, but then basically the O1 actually surpassed it a lot. So obviously the VP engineering very clearly confirmed that yes, it is. So the other one is an interesting question, is about scaling. I already talked about the scaling and inference time, which happens inside the O1 model, and then we have scaling on the training time, which was the history of the ChatGPT models. So this question is basically, will you continue scaling LLM as per scaling law, or will inference compute time scaling mean a smaller model with faster and longer inference will be the main focus? So the one about the scaling law is something that they published inside a paper, and they mention that if you plus the log of the compute versus the amount of basically precision that you will get, there is a line, and the line does not plateau at any time, and as more amount of data you provide in a log scale, it will linearly improve your precision that you will get. So basically they requires this scaling inside the training time. They're focusing that, are we going to focus on this training or basically the scaling time or compute that you need to put in the inference? OpenAI CPU actually replied to this. It says that it's not either, it is basically both. So they're gonna work both on a scaling during the training and also during the test time. So it says that better base models plus more strawberry scaling and inference time compute. So strawberry is the base model for the O1, is the code for the internal code for the family of scaling inside the inference time. So they mentioned that we're gonna focus on both, and then we're gonna spend some time, the LLM try to break down the question and understand what are the steps, and at the same time they're working on the scaling, which uses the number of parameters to kind of memorize or learn the breakdown or the base knowledge, and then the users on the inference side will help you to break down the complex problems. The other one should be obviously about hallucination. We already know that it is a persistent problem for the LLMs, and they are doing lots of different things. So we see lots of approaches like the agentic AI. We should try to have a separate LLM to check on another work to see that whether it was grounded based on the provided data or it was not, or RAG architecture, or so many other approaches. Try to somehow trick this and try to find the solution for it. So the question is asking, are hallucination going to be permanent feature? Why is even O1 preview when approaching the end of thought hallucinates more and more? And then the other question, how will you handle old data, for example 2 years old, that is no longer true? So continuously training model or some sort of like a garbage collection. It is a big issue for trustworthiness. So there are something that are not necessarily fact, but there are something that changes occasionally. So some fact that resides somewhere inside the model doesn't necessarily hold, for example, a few years from now and so on. How will you try to come up with the solution that has some temporal scaling and consideration of the time? So we hear another response from the SVP of research. So they said that we're putting a lot of focus on decreasing hallucination, but it is a fundamental hard problem. Our model learn from human written text, and humans sometimes confidently declare things that aren't sure about. I'm not 100% agree with this, because first of all, I believe the later model are not trained on the content from human. They are basically pseudo labels which are generated from the previous AI ones. Someone can argue that they are basically a copy of another copy, but basically it's not necessarily human written. And then like how much of it would be something that are falsified information. I'm not gonna like completely neglect it, but I think it's not comparable. And then we have the other response that our models are improving at citing, which grounds their answer in trusted sources. And we also believe that RL will help with hallucination as well. When we can programmatically check whether models hallucinate, we can reward it for not doing so. So that's also an interesting point, which basically is saying that they're providing citation, which is basically something related to their search GPT, and they also mentioned that they are programmatically try to address a hallucination. So if you can provide a systematic solution for this, then basically you would be able to learn it through the inference time via a policy that penalizes the policy, that the underlying policy which tries to hallucinate. I'm not 100% sure how accurate and efficient is that going to be, but basically that's something that doesn't necessarily have to have a specific data for it. So we are kind of going to a higher level by doing a decision making rather than have an actual ground truth data that said that okay, this is hallucinated and this is not hallucinated. And the last one is the next breakthrough in the GPT's model. So this is also another interesting one, which Sam Altman tried to answer it. So the question is, what's the next breakthrough in GPT line of product and what's the expected timeline? So Sam Altman mentioned that we will have better and better models, but I think that the thing that will feel like the next giant breakthrough will be agents. So we also heard that from the NVIDIA CEO that agentic AI will gonna be the future, and also we heard it from Andrew and G that they're focusing a lot on this agentic AI, having different agents to be responsible on different tasks, and voice are going to be very helpful because in an agentic environment things can work in an API manner, and you can basically recognize what is going wrong. And then we also have talked about the concept of identification from them in the previous video. I will put the link on that at the end of the video. So the Orion model is supposed to be dropped by December this year. It is going to be supposedly 100 times more accurate than the current GPT model. So this is actually very interesting, and so many people are actually looking forward to see the rollout of this model. Based on the news from OpenAI, the Orion model is not going to be released same as the O1 model and GPT-4 model to the public, but it's going to be only provided to the partners of OpenAI, and they try to basically work with the data and try to collect some data and try to give some feedback before they actually release it to everyone else. On the other hand, Microsoft is actually getting ready to basically host this, and they're actually providing their resources and everything currently around like November to get ready to basically deploy this model. And they also mentioned that based on the Verge, the engineers inside the Microsoft that are partner for deploying AI models, they said that they're preparing to host Orion on Azure as November. So it is something that is a successor to GPT-4, but it is not clear if the companies want to call it GPT-5 externally. But the most important part is the step towards this AGI. Everybody, including Sam Altman, actually considered this as a leap towards AGI. So Orion is working substantially better compared to the previous one, so 100 times better than GPT-4. Kind of some people related to the fact of a release of Horizon because they think that we are not yet ready for the capability that this model can provide, and basically there would be lots of cases that this can be misused. So we have Mira Muradi, which is basically the CTO that is trying to leave. And there you have it, guys. We went over a few of the comments in Reddit and some of the responses about the future of GPT models, and also we talk about some of the things that we know about the Orion model and the release day and when they are going to basically roll out this. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like it and more importantly subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see some videos like this, make sure to watch this video that I created before. I talk about the O1 model and how is it different from the other models from GPT. Or you can watch this video that basically we talk about Sam Altman's thought about the agentic AI and how the future of AI would look like. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. See you until the next one.